Hello there and welcome back. Today we talk about the Chord Pilot, the new model from Knobula. I put it together with the other two models that they do, the Polycinematic and Keycane. Also thanks Knobula for sending me all of these. Really appreciate the fact that you want me to demo it. And I will go through it. I just got it. It's super simple and intuitive, and that's what I love about music instrument. Basically, it will become the best buddy of the Polycinematic, because the Chord Pilot, it is a sort of chord sequencer that allows you to create and save chord and chord progression. It's pretty powerful, and it's something that I always wanted because I am not very well knowledgeable in music theory. So something like this that allows you to play and create chords and just listen to what it works, and then have the chance to save many banks of 8 chords, which you can just press a button and trigger. It's pretty awesome and fun. Before going on and talk about this and this small system that I put together, the way you can support me, you can subscribe to this page, you can share this content, you can buy from the affiliate link down below, and finally you can become a Patreon. On Patreon I go more in depth and I share exclusive content, and I also do one-on-one lesson. I also started doing mentoring, long courses that last around 3 months, which I create personally for people that are interested to learn and start their journey into music production, or they want to refine, or whatever you want, you contact me and we will discuss about it. That said, let's go into Chord Pilot. First, what you were listening before is only the Polycinematic sequenced by the Chord Pilot, and it triggered by the aux. In this case, the aux is just sending a gate signal, and for the Chord Pilot, and some gate for the Keycane. Then the Polycinematic goes inside the Milky Way, where you get some nice delay. Then into the beads, which gives all of those very interesting texture. The beads goes inside the Keycane, because I like the sidechain, and then the Keycane goes inside the data bender. This is something that I'm doing a lot lately. I like this chain. I like going into the Keycane because the algorithm for the sidechain is pretty nice. It sounds very good. And I love data bender at the end because it creates all of this glitchiness, this rich texture that I really like. Let's listen to that again. I'll turn off the kick. So with the Chord Pilot, as you can hear, I'm triggering chord. And we will go in detail. I just wanted to give an overview first. Then the beats add this high pitch that covers the frequency that was missing. And at the end we have the data bender. That had this also stereophonic information and the things that data bender does. We don't really know, right? But we love. At least I do. And then there's the Keycane. It's very low, very kind of dry. So what's happening here? As you can see, let's turn everything effect down, and so we have just the polycinematic going on. The Oxy is doing these triggers, right? Simple. And the Chord Pilot get the gate from the Oxy and then send the MIDI info to the polycinematic. Basically, it sends MIDI out with just a TSR cable. It is TSR, yes. So I have 4 chords, which I just realized one it's not really sounding good because I don't know. I put it there, but it doesn't work. But I have 1, 2, and 3. So, as I did in this quick performance, I just triggered them manually. You can trigger with buttons CV, so you can CV that out. And I have a video on Instagram where I was kind of generatively change between them. And now I'll tell you how you can create this progression, how you can create your chords. So, let's unplug everything. Let's just start talking about it. So the Chord Pilot has 8 buttons here plus an audition button. The audition button is whenever you press it, it will trigger out and will sequence the chord that all of these other buttons are doing. So as you can hear, this is the chord I have. If I move any of these buttons that will create your chord, this audition will sound different. So as you can hear, with this I have different variation of chords. I'm in a preset mode here though, preset, as you can hear, ta, and so I saved this chord. So I have, and now this is the audition. So that means that these chords are independent from the knobs, except one, the strum. Strum basically is, if you're a guitar player, you know what does it mean. It's like when you play slower with your pick. So, for example, if I make a longer strum, this is what happens. So this chord has 3 notes, these 2, and these 3 again. The faster the strum, and the more the chord sounds like a unison. So that said, you have different modality. We will go through that. So first, you have a lot of bank. You press bank with this button. So you have 8 bank. Each bank has 8 chord, and then you have 3 bank set up, A, B, and C. So total of a lot of chord you can store. And to store a chord, just to go to the simplest part, that I was blown away how simple it is. With Audition, you create your chord, then you need to be in the preset page, and then you press Audition and one of the button, and then you save it. So let's save this on chord 8, and now it's there. So now I have a collection of 5 different chords. 1. So as you can hear, then I can send gate to that. Now let's put back gate. Where is it? This guy. And I can just move towards pretty easy, pretty fun. So let's go now through what actually all these beautiful knobs do. So first, you can have these buttons here. You can decide how they work. In the preset mode, basically you save your chord, and you can actually change the single note of the chord. We will see how later on. Then you have the modal circle, meaning that you set the audition, and then there's 8 variation of it based on the modal. Modal move the chord in like up and down as a. Why don't we read what it does? Because I always get to the point where I don't know what I'm saying. But modal shift the whole chord shape up and down the virtual keyboard. So for example, this is the situation here. Let's see the different variation. The one is always the audition, and then the other one. Right? There's no reference to a key, because the key is gonna be made on the, in this case, the polycinematic. If I move the tune here, the frequency, the frequency, where is it? The pitch. That's how you set your key. So this is the first modal. Then there's circle. And basically these change by circle of fifth, I think. And also because I set this button, that is the circle, by fifth, you can change that in different mode that we will see, or maybe not later, but there's that possibility too. And then in the end, preset. Preset is the one that I use most, and then the one where you save your progression, your chord. So probably the one that you will be hanging on more. All right, then let's, for the sake of these things, let's be in preset, because I want to create my own thing. And so let's select a bank. Let's go bank 8, that is empty, so I have no bank. And now let's just play the audition, and let's hear what things does. So note count is the first thing, how many notes your chord have. At the minimum is just 1. So basically this is gonna be a sequencer for just one note. You can maybe use it as a sequencer, but probably pretty pointless. And you can keep adding. Until a maximum of 8 notes. So this is gonna be your maximum polyphony, 8 notes. Let's keep 3 notes, so it's easier. Then you have interval. An interval, it's like how you're spreading your finger in the virtual keyboard. So let's hear it. And then the bias decide where the spreading note will be more towards the higher pitches or the lower pitches. So let's hear that too. Then we have circle. Circle move the chord in different way. You can decide. It could move by a certain amount of semitones or tones that you decide, or it can be by fifth, or can be by octave. I think this is the standard, and it should move by fifth. Right? Then we have modal that we already said. It's basically shift the chord. And in the end, conform. Conform is probably one of the most useful, and you can see here, conform basically when it's on the middle, it's conform all the notes to different scale, to different, not scale, different variation of scale. And it could be fifth, sustained, major, minor. So the more you go towards the right, it's major, and the left is going to be more sad and minor. So let's hear that too. So fifth. So, and then last thing, you have bass note. Bass note basically steel note to cover the lower note when needed. So, as you can hear. And in the end, you have this switch here that is chord, where we are now. Orbit. Orbit basically goes through all the chord, as you can hear. And the fast is, how fast is the side bass strum. And then we have arpeggio. Arpeggio when you hold one trigger, it goes arpeggiating between this the note. If you are in preset, you will arpeggiate between the chords you decide. So, this all to say, how this thing work? Rather than give you like, okay, this is gonna be chord of C or B or whatever, it's meant to be twiddle, how you say? You just improvise and you touch it until you find the chord you like. So, it's kind of an approach that I enjoy, because most of the time with modular, I don't really want to know what I'm doing. I just go for what sounds good to me. So, with that in mind, let's start creating something. Let's create 8 chords together that can work. So, we would start with our audition. And let's use the chord mode. So, say we like this as a starting point. We press audition, and then we press the chord where we want to save that. So 1. Now, that chord is saved there in bank 8 and bank set A. So, we can start add a second chord. We have 2 different ways. We can modify the audition button until there's something that we like. And we can always press the first one to hear the relationship between them. For example, this one was the one we saved before, and this is the new one. We like it, let's put it in. Let's move to a third chord. We like it, and we put it down. Now we have 3. Let's put a 4 one. And so on and on. So, if we start a sequence, let's put back my gate. So now I am in strum. As you can see, strum is long. So when it's triggered, it doesn't go the full chord. But let's put strum. Here it is. And now I can change my chords. Now I can add stuff. Easy as that. Now, there's another modality if you want to go a little more in-depth with that. Say we want to change chord 2. So, we can change the single note. So, to do that, you press the button and then you press circle. Now, that is start blinking, and these are the 3 notes, and you can hear them separately. Let's turn on all the effects here. So it's, if you want to change a note, you press the note you want to change, for example, this, and you move the circle. And you can press audition to hear the full chord. Whenever you're fine with what you did, you press circle again, and now that chord is saved on the audition button. And now you can decide where to save it. Say I want to put it on 2, I will just press audition and then press 2, and now the chord stay there. And that's it. Super simple. You can also change different setting for the chord. For example, like, again, press this, not audition, press circle. Now I'm saving. Let's say I want to add more notes to it, because it's just 3. Now I'll move the note count, and nothing happened. Now it's happened. I don't know why. Maybe it was because of the kind of chord I was doing. So now I have this. So in the preset setting where you can just modify every parameter of your chord, you can see exactly what's happening. Of course, there's an algorithm here, so even if you put note count to the maximum, it depends on what chord are you playing. It can be less or more chord, and also you can see the conform, how it changed, so you can hear what's happened. Again, when you're ready and you like what you're listening, you press circle again, and now it's saved on your audition button. And now you can save whatever you want. I want to save on 4. So now I have 4 chords. And now I can play with them. I can add then more interesting with polycinematic. Or I can just play chords. There's 2 modalities for the knobs to work, like catch, or you have to go back to the setting and then move it. And now it's setting to catch. And that's how these things work. And then it's pretty simple to create things. Yeah, you have something that has to trigger it, whatever. In this case, I'm overdoing it with the oxy. I'm adding some kick. Then, this is one way to use it. The other way would be not being preset, but go in some like modal or circle, where whatever you do with the knobs, it's actually reflect on the music. So you can improvise and since Chord Pilot works with algorithm that makes this progression with some sense, you can actually go with the flow. You know that circle will circle through different intervals that you can decide. In this case it's fifth, as we said before. So you can just play with it. And you can change button by hand. Of course, for my way of playing, I like the idea of creating my preset, because that's what I really need sometime when I play. Like I have a fixed amount of chord which I can move through, so you can save banks for major, minor, whatever you want, and you're happy. I usually use just one chord, one pedal for my composition, so this is probably something that will be very helpful. And then you have conform, where you can just move around and you can actually hear different variation of your chord. So I guess this is where you need to practice and know more about the tool itself, how it changing circle will move through the different chords. Or again, you go in your saved preset. And so on and on and on. I already had some very nice tune made using these in a more random generative way, because what you can do, of course, you can have, for example, from Pamela, I have these should be random, and you can sequence the button. So now the button will be randomly selected basing on the Pamela, what's happening in Pamela. So that's, it's a way to go. And also you can change your thing like that. And then you can circle between your 8 preset chord, and something nice can happen. Of course, all depends what you say. We can go back in modal and hear what's happening now. And here you get into very weird territory, which I do enjoy, because there's, of course, correlation between all these chords, so it doesn't really go too random, but there's something that can be used for textural work or some background music, whatever. And I think that's it. This is literally one of my first day with the Chord Pilot, and so this is my first impression, and I really think it's a very interesting module, super easy to use, and it will allow you to have at your hand very different way to perform. I'm thinking that my next step could be to try this one. First, I want to try it with the Iridium, because that can be sequenced by CV, but actually this is MIDI. So whatever, I can sequence anything with this one actually, and I'm curious to see how it's gonna work with the Iridium. I'm curious how it will gonna work with the Vermona, even though Vermona has only 4 voices, but you know, I'd like sometimes to trigger chords on Vermona with just the push of a button. All right. Okay, I think I said everything I had to say about this module. It will feature again for sure. I love having this small 3 module system here. Coming soon, the demo of the Endorphin Milky Way, which is a pretty nice small unit effects that work really well. And then there's so many things. Actually, the setting up of the desk took me ages, so I'm a little behind my schedule. But yeah, things will come. Stay tuned, and I'll see you next week. Ciao, ciao.